Mike is like a snake. He'll pop out on you. He get there too quick. But if you charge him, you're gonna smother everything. Because everything he push off his legs. He push off his legs so he too close. Like this, but if you give him room, I mean, everybody gets knocked out.
Jake Paul has just dropped a bombshell after his crushing defeat by Mike Tyson, though it's hard to understand why he's even surprised. Wasn't it obvious from the start that challenging Tyson, a man with 44 knockouts against history's best, was a terrible idea? Did Jake really think that his 27-year-old confidence would somehow outmatch Tyson's decades of destruction? He must have assumed the old lion had lost his bite, only to painfully discover otherwise, walking away with a broken rib and...
Where's the lawsuit? If you didn't get paid, where's the lawsuit? So it's a bunch of bullshit, but like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers. Logan as well as Jake, they know what they're doing, so they're doing what they got to do. I claim that.
Mike Tyson, second round knockout, one of the most second round real...
A few shattered teeth. Now Jake's got the audacity to throw wild accusations Tyson's way. The claims are laughable, so let's get into them and have a good laugh at this circus.
Just a fake knockout. And after the first round, I don't think Jake probably gonna try to run, but he can't run from Mike. Mike is serious business. When he go in there for real. He hungry too. Mike is hungry.
Circus act he's staging. Just hours ago, the world witnessed the showdown it had been waiting for, and trust me, it didn't disappoint. Mike Tyson, a name that has made generations of boxers shiver and call their mum. For comfort, stepped into the ring once again, facing none other than Jake Paul. Jake, the social media powerhouse, had somehow convinced himself, and a chunk of the internet, that he was ready to take on a legend who eats rookies for breakfast. Tyson walked into that arena exuding a calm confidence, no bravado, no flashy show, just the quiet assurance of a man who's been there, done that, and probably knocked out the T-shirt salesman on his way in. Meanwhile, Jake Paul strutted around like a human peacock, feathers metaphorically fluffed, absolutely convinced that his TikTok muscles were somehow going to topple one of the most feared men to ever lace up gloves.
Stopped it! Round one, knockout, Jake Paul, El Gallo de Dorado! Another first-round stoppage for the problem child. He told us round two.
For weeks, Jake had trash-talked and mocked Tyson, even going so far as to dress in a fat suit, thinking age insults were the peak of sportsmanship. But life has a funny way of dishing out reality checks, and Jake was about to get slapped harder than his YouTube content ever could. From the very first punch, it became painfully clear that Tyson's age was nothing more than a number, and a meaningless one at that. This man
in the cruiserweight, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the white corner, wearing his traditional black, and officially weighing in at 220.4 pounds.
And didn't just have power, he had decades of honed skill, the kind of experience Jake could only dream of in his wildest influencer fantasies. As the fight began, the crowd went wild, and millions tuned in, popcorn ready to witness.
Career of 56 fights. He has 50 victories, including 44 knockouts. He was the baddest man on the planet. KO punchers of all times, the two-time heavyweight world champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Witness the unraveling of Jake Paul's hype machine. All those antics, the ridiculous pranks, the overblown confidence, every bit of it crumbled faster than Jake's dignity as Tyson's fists began to land. The so-called ultimate troll had turned into a human.
Mike Tyson!
Punching bag, and there was nothing funny about it anymore. Let's talk about Jake's biggest miscalculation. He thought he was up against some kind of boxing museum relic, a guy whose best days were so far behind him they'd need a GPS to find them. But Tyson, he was playing a game Jake wasn't ready for. He absorbed those wild swings like he was out for a casual Sunday jog, barely blinking. Tyson? Wait.
And we've had an accidental headbutt. I heard
Jake Paul seems pretty relaxed. Okay, because I'm like, you can't run in this.
I don't want any more of this.
Hid, watched, and then, with the kind of precision that keeps even seasoned fighters up at night, struck with the kind of power that left Jake rethinking his entire existence. That signature peekaboo style haunting fighters' dreams since the 80s was on full display, and Jake's expression quickly shifted from smugness to the stark realization of, I messed up. The punches Jake had been so proud of were shrugged off by Tyson like mosquito bites, while Jake's confidence deflated faster than his ego. Desperate to make an early impact, Jake threw everything he had, but Tyson wasn't fazed. He knew the game Jake was playing, and he wasn't impressed. It was clear to anyone watching, Tyson wasn't out of breath or breaking a sweat. He was simply letting Jake exhaust himself. Watching Tyson move was like seeing a lion toy with an overconfident cub. The crowd could sense it too. Tyson wasn't losing ground or looking for an escape. He was just biding his time, waiting for Jake to tire. While Jake's stamina began to falter, Tyson's remained solid, as though he was ready to go all night. This wasn't just a... casual boxing match for him. It was a calculated takedown, a brutal chest game, played with fists instead of pawns. When Jake's energy finally started to dip, Tyson saw his opening. The arena held its breath. And then it happened, the first devastating body shot. Tyson didn't just throw a punch, he delivered a rib-cracking, bone-saking blow.
Who yourself, New York? New York! New York! New York! You're just like Mike Tyson! You were good 20 years ago! New York!
Aimed with surgical precision. The impact was almost audible, and the expression on Jake's face said it all. November 15th, 2024 wasn't going to be remembered as just another day in the life of Jake Paul. It would be the day he felt the full force of a man who has made a career out of crushing opponents both physically and mentally. Jake's gasp, a raw, uncontrollable exhale of sheer pain, was the moment everyone knew.
You got to take him serious, Mike, because
I take him extremely serious. I take him extremely serious. These people don't take him serious.
No, they don't, and it's such a mistake because he's a real killer. Mike, like he wanted to be a Navy SEAL before he started boxing in high school. He wants to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to go kill people on behalf of his country.
This was no YouTube prank. It was real, and it was brutal. But Tyson wasn't done. Experience doesn't just mean knowing how to throw a punch. It means knowing exactly where to land it. As Jake staggered, trying to recover from that body shot, Tyson's strike was already lined up, and when his fist connected with Jake's head, it was with terrifying precision, sending the YouTube star crashing to the canvas. In that instant, every ounce of Jake Paul's bravado and cockiness disintegrated. The guy who thought he could meme his way into boxing immortality was now lying on the mat, dazed and broken, his ego shattered beyond repair. That fat suit he wore to mock Tyson? Yeah, it's not so funny anymore when you're getting laid out by the very man you disrespected. The crowd went wild, but not in the way you cheer for an underdog. It was a different kind of energy, the kind that comes from watching someone finally get what they had coming. The arena erupted in a mix of cheers and gasps as Jake lay there, a broken, humbled shell of the overconfident figure who strutted in, thinking he was untouchable. Fans had paid good money expecting influencer-fueled drama or maybe a flashy upset. But what they got instead was a lesson in humility and respect. Humility was delivered by the heavyweight king himself. Tyson proved that even an old lion's claws are sharper than any young cub's bravado. Jake's entire persona, built on the idea that he was indestructible, gone apart that night. The social media star who thought his fame would shield him from reality was suddenly face to face with a very different kind of audience. Gone were the fans cheering for his wild antics. Now he was surrounded by people who watched as he lay vulnerable, stripped of all pretense, just another defeated man who had bitten off more than he could chew. The once cocky YouTube king became a cautionary tale, a living example of how hype can't save you from the hard truth of facing a real fighter. The carefully constructed facade that Jake Paul had nurtured for years didn't just crack, it was obliterated. Tyson's world isn't about showmanship or social media antics. It's about the brutal reality of skill, experience, and respect. Mike Tyson's knockout of Jake Paul on November 15, 2024, was a brutal, soul-crushing reminder of why Tyson's legacy remains untouchable. It wasn't just about discipline, raw strength, and an unbreakable spirit. It was about the enduring power of true greatness. Jake Paul's defeat wasn't just a loss. It was a global event that reminded everyone why legends like Tyson never fade. It only wait for the perfect moment to strike. Mike Tyson's knockout of Jake Paul cemented his place as one of the most fearsome figures in boxing. This wasn't the typical technical knockout Jake had grown accustomed to, where the referee steps in to protect an overwhelmed fighter. There was no saving grace, no bell to spare him. This was a Tyson-style KO, a full-throttle obliteration that left Jake completely unable to stand, with a power and finality that only a few in history have experienced. What makes this fight even more significant is how it will be remembered. It's not just a victory for Tyson, it's a cultural moment. It serves as a reminder to the younger generation of fighters and fans that the roots of boxing still carry immense, often terrifying power, and that legends like Tyson are timeless, showing that raw strength and experience can still dominate in a world of flash and hype.